Have you ever found yourself staring at a daunting to-do list, feeling overwhelmed before even beginning? Do you struggle with starting tasks only to be paralyzed by anxiety and self-doubt? Well, I know many of you are because I am hearing this from all of my clients and from their parents. And the parents are probably experiencing it in their own lives about their own things, but I'm guessing that their biggest concern is that their child is not getting work done. So they're thinking, why isn't my kid getting their homework done at school? Why are there so many undone assignments? Why is everything so disorganized around them? And this is definitely a pattern of procrastination that I'm seeing with all of my clients. And they're probably asking for frequent extensions to deadlines because they're having such a hard time getting things done. And I have been thinking about this podcast episode for so long because I just think it's such an important one. I've been talking to my clients about it. But it's that initiation of a task, that very first time when you know you have these things to do and you make yourself get started. So much energy is needed in that time of first starting the project. Now, what's so weird about it is that you need more energy just to start it than you actually need to do the work. And I think that's where some of the procrastination comes from. It just feels so exhausting and overwhelming to get started on something, especially when there's a lot to do. And it almost causes like a paralysis where you just don't know what to do next, or you don't know how to get started. And so today I want to talk to you about how do we get our tasks started? How do we get through that really uncomfortable part so that we can get our work done and we can not have so many undone assignments? And this isn't just for young people, though that's when I hear it most from parents about their children not getting things done. Even my own clients say they wish they didn't procrastinate because they hate that overwhelmed feeling, but they don't know how to get started. And I really think this is a universal problem with everyone. Like, we have to learn how to make ourselves do things that we don't want to do. And that's kind of what I talk to my clients about, that there are things that I don't want to do. Right now it's tax time and you're supposed to get all of your stuff put together about what did you spend and how much did you make and where did it come from and all this stuff. And to me, that is the most annoying thing. I just don't want to do it. And I've told myself so many times I'm going to do it in small pieces, and I never do. And so then it becomes like this huge, now look at your entire last year to figure out what's going on, when really I could have done it every month, maybe even every week, and it would have been so much easier. So we're all experiencing this, but I want to talk to you about some ways that you can help this phenomenon for yourself and help your child learn some ways that they can also do this so that they can be more successful in school, but then also in their own lives. So task initiation is just the ability to start a task. And that is the number one thing that we need to know how to do in order to overcome procrastination. Because if we can start the task, which is that part that takes much more energy, then once we're doing the task, we can kind of just go along and it feels okay because we don't have to put out as much energy to do the task as it was to get it started. So anxiety is kind of mixed up in this because a lot of times when we're avoiding tasks, it's because of anxious thoughts that we have about it, whether we're worried about failing, whether we're worried about just getting lost in how much there is and we don't know what the outcome's going to be. And people who are perfectionistic put off a lot of things because it's like, oh, it's going to be so exhausting to make that perfect. So then I don't want to get started on it. And this is one of the executive functioning skills that everybody needs to have to be successful in the world, getting tasks started. And of course, we want to finish tasks too. There is that whole thing where people start a lot of things and then they don't finish those things. And that can be part of the puzzle. But really, if you can just get people to start, then they're much more likely to get it done. So one of the things that you can do to help you get started is to start with something easy. So if you look at your to-do list, if you look at your list of homework, if you look at everything you need to read for the night or whatever it is that you're putting off, or for me, looking at my taxes, then what's something easy that I could get done from this list? Now, we don't always want to pick what's easy because this has happened to me before, if you always pick something easy, then you never do the hard stuff. And if you saw my list, it's here somewhere, I have a list of things like these are the have-tos. And I really don't, if I put something on my have-to list, then I get that done. But then I have this list of, if you get these things done, you can do these things. I always have things that I could be doing. And if I always pick the easy stuff from that list, then the stuff that's hard, I never go to it, because the next day there's more easy stuff I add to the list, and then I just go to the easy stuff and then I don't get the hard things done. But sometimes to get that initial energy expended into starting the task, find something that's easy, because then you're not going to feel so resistant to it, because it's like, oh, well, of course I could do that. Or even make it so tiny that it's impossible for you not to be able to get started. One of my clients, I told him, do one math problem and read one page in your textbook. That's all you have to do at homework time. And that's something I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but always have a time to work on something too. Like every day, it doesn't have to be the same time, because I know everyone's schedule is different, especially with the clients that I work with. Every night they have a different schedule. So you would have to decide either the morning of or the night before, when you're looking at your day, what is a time where I could do 30 minutes of schoolwork? And I think you should have a time every single day. Now, that doesn't mean you always have homework, though. If you're in high school, you probably do, especially math, because math is almost a daily homework assignment. But even if you didn't have math, there's always something you could be doing towards school, because you always have an upcoming test, even if the test is 2 weeks from now. You always have an upcoming paper, even though it's several weeks away or whatever. And you could always be doing something towards those bigger projects in that 30 minutes every day. So you just say, every day for 30 minutes, I always have homework. You just figure out what it is you're going to do during that time, and you figure out what that time is. And then when you have that time, maybe sometimes you're going to choose what's easiest, but maybe you're just going to have a very small goal that you're going to make yourself do during that time. I'm going to do one math problem, and I'm going to read one page in my textbook. And again, that's that thing where it gets you started, because that's easy to do. And then you probably will just keep working during that 30 minutes because you already expended the biggest amount of energy to get started. Also use the 5-minute goal strategy. So that's breaking things down into small pieces again. And you make sure that they're like 5-minute activities that you can do. And then after 5 minutes, you just tell yourself you have to work for 5 minutes. So if you have that 30-minute homework time, or if you're a parent, that 30-minute, I'm going to get, those housekeeping tasks done. And I need to do this with my taxes, like 30 minutes. If I worked on it 30 minutes a day, I could get so much stuff done. But after 5 minutes, then you can decide, do you want to have a break after 5 minutes, or do you want to keep going? And again, a lot of people will keep going because you've already started the motion towards getting something done. So you're going to want to stick with it. Then there is a soften the blow method. And that just means that you're going to pair that task that you don't want to do with something that you do like. And I think this is tricky with homework, and I know a lot of people It's so controversial with kids. So you can just decide as parents or as the teen, whatever you want. I can't listen to music when I'm doing homework because my mind will be singing the song. I'll be thinking about what the album cover looked like. I'll be thinking about what year it came out, all that stuff. And so my mind gets so distracted by music. But if you really can listen to music and do your work, which I still don't believe there's any such thing, but I'm not going to fight anybody about it. Pair that activity that you don't want to do with something that you do like listening to a certain song, or maybe you're going to pair it with something you're going to do afterwards. Like, I'm going to do this 30 minutes of work and then I'm going to go see my friend. I'm going to do this 30 minutes of work and then I'm going to play a video game. So just pairing it either together or right after can help you want to get the task done. Now, things like, and I've used this example before, I'm sure, on the podcast, and I also talk to my clients about it a lot, that mundane tasks like laundry and emptying the dishwasher and, just like those kinds of things, then I do have a playlist that I only listen to when I'm doing those tasks. So then it makes it a special list that I don't always hear the songs all the time, but there's songs I do want to hear. And so then it makes me think, oh, I want to do that task because then I get to listen to that playlist. And then you could have a rule for starting assignments, such as beginning them no more than 2 days after they're assigned. So you just make different kinds of rules in your mind about, and if you had a rule that you have to start assignments at least 2 days after they've been assigned, then you would that's your rule and you would follow it. And you do have to really police yourself in this way and really make yourself do the things that you say you're going to do. Build that relationship with yourself so that you know that what I say I am going to do. So if I say that I have this rule about I'm always going to do the assignments 2 days after, then you will do that because you've already built that relationship with yourself. You can set reminders. You could do it in your phone or on your computer, or make little post-it note to remind you when your homework time is, remind you what you're going to do during that homework time. Maybe you'll plan it out ahead of time that during this homework time, I'm going to do these things. I'm sure I've showed it. I know I show it to my clients. I can't remember if I've showed it on here, and you're not going to really be able to see it, but I have this. I got it at Target. I now order it online because sometimes Target has things and then they don't have it anymore. And so that's kind of what happened to me. And they still may off and on have this, but it's a day designer. So one sheet is just 1 day. Now this can be kind of wasting paper, except I usually use the back for like scratch paper when I have ideas and I'm writing down AI prompts or things like that. But it has like, what's the top 3 things? That's my have-tos at the top. And then it has the times of the day. And that's where I do my time blocking, where I say, this is when I'm going to do these things all through the day. And then I have over to the side, it has the list of the things that I could work on if I get the top 3 things done. And then just other notes that I can write to myself about the day and what I want to do tomorrow. And sometimes at the end of the day, I do look at tomorrow. I look at what's on my schedule, and then I think about, okay, these are the things that I'd want to get done tomorrow. And also focus on one task at a time. There is some research, and I didn't look this up ahead of time because I just thought of it, but when you are task switching a lot, it actually wastes time because it takes your brain so much time to like get started on the new task that you're doing. And so I've been trying to do this too in my day, where I try to just work on one thing at a time, and I'm writing that down, and I know, okay, during this hour, I'm focusing on this. And so if I have other tasks to do, I wait until I take a break. Like if I get up to go to the bathroom, if I go get a drink, if I somehow my day is disrupted from what I was focusing on, then I can do some of those other little things, like put a load of laundry in, pick up the kitchen a little bit. Then I, have a break and a chance to do something different. And then I come back and I focus again on the next one task. So that's really important to do. And then learn to look at all of these things without emotion. Because when you are looking at it like, oh, all this dread, like, oh my gosh, this is so terrible and I don't want to do it. And whenever you're thinking like that, of course it feels terrible to get started. Like, who wants to get started on anything when you're like, ugh. So I know it's not fun. Like, this tax thing is not fun for me, but I do need to look at it like, this will help me to plan how this year goes. And when I know where my money's going, it's going to be I'll be more likely for it to be going in the right direction and going to the things that I want it to. So I really do need to get this stuff written down and pay attention. And maybe there's even and I've thought about this so often, I pay for a lot of different platforms and things. And sometimes I'm like, am I still using that? Or could this platform do all of these things and I can get rid of some of this stuff? So that would be another reason why I should do it and be excited about it, because it might actually bring more money into my business than I even was realizing. And then, of course, minimize distractions. And I don't feel like I'm distracted by my phone that often. I mean, I like to look at my phone and I like to play games on my phone, but I don't really think about it when I'm working because I really want to get my work done. But if you know that your phone's going to be a problem, I do sometimes turn the sound of it off. Just so, I never have, I guess not the sound, but even the vibration. Like, I don't usually have the sound on my phone ever. I usually just have the vibrating, so I know like when messages come in. But sometimes my phone vibrates a lot and I want to look at it. I want to see what's going on. And so when I turn that off, it's amazing how much work I get done because I'm not even thinking. There's no cue for me to get distracted from the sound. And so if you're working in a space that's loud, you might want to put on noise canceling headphones. Like, my house is really peaceful and quiet, and so I don't have to worry about that. But if I know a lot of places where kids might be doing homework where there's other siblings, there's, other stuff going on, and you can't control all of that stuff that goes on in your house, but you could find ways to be less distracted in different ways. I even have a client that, we were just digging down to the nitty gritty, like, why are you not doing your homework? And, I was asking about, he was doing it in his room. And so I was asking him about what his room was like. And, is that the best place to do your homework? Because sometimes where you want to and where you should are two different things. So we came up with the library, the public library was very near his house. And he said, I just kind of want to go to the library and work. And his parents were fine with it. And he was doing that and he was getting more stuff done because it was maybe quieter there. Or, sometimes kids don't like their parents like hovering over them or watching them. They just want to do it on their own. And so if you can come up with things like that help your child get their stuff done, then I would say go for it no matter what. And make sure that your tasks are broken down into actual tasks. I watched a webinar this week that was about focus and it was about business, like how can you stay focused on your business? How can you get your work done? And she was saying, don't have like big, broad, generic things on your list. And I do have a lot of that. Like, one of mine is plan my year. Okay, well, that's a good thing to do, but that's too big. Like, what are the small tasks? What are the just like very small goals that I could break that down into? And then that is what I have as my task and I can check it off my list. And so think about that too. Make sure that you don't have too big of projects or too big of like generic things on your list. You need to have like specific, very detailed things that you could do. And I wanted to talk to you about the role of coaching in all of this, because we can figure these things out. We can do these things on our own, but we're not doing these things on our own. And I'm finding with my clients, they're not listening to their parents about getting these things done either. And, their kids, they sometimes don't listen to me either. But the likelihood that they'll do what I'm asking them to do is a little bit bigger than with their parents for whatever reason. I've noticed that with all the students I worked with over the years and my clients now. If I say something, I could say the exact same thing their parents said, and they're going to think more about what I said than their parents. And I think that might just be because they're trying to be independent and they're trying to make their own decisions about things. And if their ideas are coming from more of a stranger or someone that they're choosing to visit with, it feels more like their decision. So coaching can be very helpful in helping your child get through that task initiation and like learning skills on how to deal with that. Now, I'm not an executive functioning coach, which there are those. And if you really think that your child needs just help with all these executive functioning skills, like more than just what we're talking about today, then that might be the direction you go to. But that's still a coach that you hire that helps your child figure this out. I am an anxiety coach, but I'm finding that anxiety is the reason why people are procrastinating and not getting things done almost all the time. Or you can at least find that piece of anxiety in there that's causing that to happen. And so if you are needing help with your child getting this stuff figured out, then let me know about it. I would love to talk with you and we can look at all the specifics and try to figure out how can we help? How can I help? How can my program, which helps with anxiety, which is one of the things they would need, but I also meet the child where they are. If they need help getting their homework done, then that's what we're going to work on. If they need help planning their future, then that's what we're going to work on. If they need to break up with a boyfriend or girlfriend, then that's what we work on. If they need new friends, that's what we work on. Like there's just so many things. But I just wanted you to know that how coaching fits into anxiety, which fits into task initiation, procrastination, all those things. So I hope you have an amazing week, and please send me any questions you have or contact me so we can talk about how to help with task initiation. I'll talk to you soon.